Alright, this is the video tutorial for the SAM Project B Pelletier College project. So make sure you've got this file open, the 9B, your name. You've saved it as the _2. And let's jump right on in. So we're a student at Pelletier College. We're working on a report for a class, and we need to incorporate some additional content. So let's go ahead and we're going to change this to Outline View, as the first direction tells us. And then it tells us to insert our insertion point above the table of figures, and then insert the support document. So show document, insert, and then that support file is the 9B report. Open, there it is. With our insertion point somewhere in that linked object, we're going to unlink it. It's now part of our document. We can close it. And now we've got our full document in here. All right, so step 2 says on page 2, find the phrase, determine that expressions of happiness, fear, anger, blah, 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 blah. So it says find that phrase and insert the following endnote after the period. So after the word universal and after the period, we're going to go to our references, insert an endnote, not a footnote, and then we're going to type the text in other words. Every culture has similar expressions for these emotions. Period. All right, on page 3, we're going to go back up to page 3 with a girl with the A-OK sign. It says, in the italic words, les zero, so right here, les zero, replace the E in zero with a smaller letter E with an acute accent. So we're going to select the E in the word le, and I'm going to go to my Insert tab, Symbols, Symbol, more symbols, and then in that character code we're going to type 233, and there's our acute. So this is going to be in the ASCII decimal. If yours doesn't show this, make sure it says from ASCII decimal, character code 233. Here's our acute accent over the letter E. Insert and close. Le zero is there. And then on page 4, it says add a caption to the picture with the people in the elevator. So the caption is displayed as follows. We're going to go to our References tab, insert a caption, make sure we don't exclude the label. So figure 3, colon, space, people avoid eye contact in impersonal situations, period. And you don't want this, you don't want the word period, you want to put a period. So people avoid eye contact in impersonal situations, period. Okay, here's our figure right down at the bottom. And then it says in the paragraph before the picture on page 4, so right here where it says insert the cross-reference, we're just going to select that text and the bracket. And then we're going to cross-reference. Reference type is to a figure, and we want the figure 3. And then choose the label and number. So it says see figure 3. All right, then step 6 says on page 4, the sentence before the elevator picture that begins, failing to observe these categories right here. We're going to mark personal space as an index entry. Right here, personal space. So we're going to select that text. We're going to mark that entry as a personal space, mark it and close it. And if you want to turn off those formatting marks, you can. If you want to keep them on, that's fine too. We'll do it at the end. And then on page 7, or step 7, it says create a link between the workplace communication text box. So we're just going to select this text box, Drawing Tools Format tab, create link, and then pour it into that text box on the page below it. Alright, then it says on page 5, insert a page break before the interaction of verbal and nonverbal communication. So bring our insertion point to the left of the interaction. We're going to go Layout, Breaks, Page, and then with our insertion point still there, we're also going to insert a continuous section break as well. Nope, don't do that. I'm jumping ahead. Alright, so that one's going to get that page break. If you inserted the continuous one, undo it. Then it says on page 2, insert a hyperlink. So here's our page 2. Insert a hyperlink from the text interaction in the third body paragraph, beginning this report defines right here. So again, we're going to break our link the word interaction. So here's interaction. And we're going to go to our Insert tab, link a link, to a place in this document, and we are going to do the interaction of verbal and nonverbal communications. Okay, and there's our link. Alright, now the next step says insert a break to prepare for the table of contents. So we're going to go to the introduction, and here is where we're going to insert a page break. So our Layout tab, Break, Page, and then we're going to add the continuous section break in the same spot. Alright, now we can come up to that page break that we just inserted on the new page 2, I think it is. Yeah. And then it says with our insertion point before the new page break, add the automatic Table 2 table of contents. So our References tab, Table of Contents, Automatic Table, number 2. And then step 12 says on page 3, the one beginning introduction, insert a header. So we're going to select our header area. We're going to go to our Header Tools Design tab. We're going to choose the Ion Dark header. We're going to break the link to the previous section. We're going to go to the previous section. So this table of contents page with our insertion point up in this header area, we're going to remove this header. Come back down here, and then close the header and footer just to make sure it's there. Step 13 says at the bottom of page 8, so we're going to go down to near the bottom, right here. So it says delete that next page section break. So we're just going to bring our insertion point right there, delete it, and then it deletes that section break, and it changes the continuous to a new next page. And then it says on page 9, insert a new blank paragraph. So after the table of figures, enter, go to our References tab, and then insert a table of figures using all default settings. And then come down to the next page, at page 10, insert a space after index, and then we're going to insert the index using the default settings. So insert index, OK, and there's our default settings for the index. Alright, now step 16 says add an entry on page 7. So here's our page 7, I believe. The last paragraph on the page, this one, I think, auto expression. Yes, some expressions. Okay, so it says, and this is important, it says at the end of the last paragraph on the page, mark an index entry. So we're going to come to this last paragraph, at the end of this last paragraph, and I'm going to put my insertion point after the period, I think. And then we're going to choose mark entry. Yep, so mark entry. And then it says that uses paralanguage as the main entry and expressions as the so paralanguage as the main entry and expressions as the sub-entry. And then mark it. We're going to go ahead and hide our codes if they turn back on. Close that. All right. And then it says we're going to, and then update the index and all of the other fields. So we're going to go ahead and make sure we've got all these. So I'm going to start with any of those. So figure 3, that's good. And then I'm going to look for this other. So here's our figure 4. Right here says figure 3. I'm going to update this field. Okay, I'm going to update my table of figures here. I'm going to update that. So paralanguage expressions is here now. And then go up to my table of contents. Make sure that's updated. All right. And then it says, step 17, change the document margins to apply a 0.25. So layout, margins, custom margins. And then we're going to apply a 0.25 gutter. Excuse me, again, to the whole document. Okay. And then doesn't look like anything changed. All right. So you can go ahead and take a look to make sure that everything looks the same. Table of contents. We've got our 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That looks good. And then our interaction, that's right. Our our end node up here. And then we've got haptics. And then alright. For some reason, that one I have to take a look at that one. That looks like it rolls a little bit more than it needs to on that page. Hit that one. Workplace. Paralanguage. Interaction. Let's make sure that where did that and that okay. All right. So those ones, 1, 2, 4, 6, those look right. And that index, 2, 2, 4, 1, 4, 2, 3. So all of these look good. The page numbers look like they fall where they should. All right. A quick thing before you submit this. On page 4, I think this new page 4, the one with the girl with the A-OK, this right here should be the le should be the regular E, and the 0 E should be the one that we emphasize. So we'll go back to our Insert tab, Symbols, Symbol, and then it should still be right there. So it should be le 0 instead of le 0. And that was, I did miss, it was like 0.3 of a point, so I got a 97 out of 100, but it was because of that I marked the wrong word. So I didn't read that more carefully enough. So le 0 should be the one that has the acute symbol, but not the word le. So hopefully you caught this before you submitted it, but everything else should be perfect.